Hello YouTube, it's Trust, and welcome to the first episode of the Bear Hug Radio. This podcast has been in the works for a very long time. It's not perfect, but it's a taste of what is yet to come. I will be interviewing a lot of cool people in the community. The goal of this podcast is to get to know people that add value to the community. The first guest on the Bear Hug Radio is JustRon. He is an important member of the OK Bears and the Chain Gang. He is a DJ at heart, loves gambling, music, and the Detroit Lions. He is a very active member on Twitter and adds a tremendous value to the NFT community. This podcast will mainly talk about his background in crypto and the bear market. We'll also talk about his thoughts on the Yoots movement. The first question I talked about with Ron was, what was his crypto journey like? And if you could talk about what it was like during mint season.
Getting into NFTs, obviously making money is a big part of it, and that's cool. But obviously the probably further thing looking at it of joining a community, being early on all this stuff, but trying to learn as much as possible. But getting to the money part, even it's all playing a game, and once you find out playing the game is fun as hell, and once you kind of figure out how to play it, it becomes a little addicting, and when I got back into it, in February, I was okay, I'm just gonna learn as much as possible, and I'm gonna whitelist was the meta at the time, flipping whitelist if you didn't have a lot of soul, and every project was selling out for the most part. So it was okay, I'm gonna get in every Discord, and anytime there's a giveaway, I'm gonna join it. And again, working from home, I'm able to be on Discord often, and I would just make it a point to make sure all of the notifications were read. And if that was just kind of going through 100 a day in the morning, and then every 10-15 minutes or whenever I'd kind of check it, let's look at it, let's see if something popped up. And whatever the project was, you couldn't have too many whitelists. There was no downside to getting whitelist to a project that didn't do well, because you just wouldn't mint it. You'd watch the whitelist mint. If it was crushing, then you're okay, this is going to do well. It's going to sell out quick, and it's going to pump right after. And if you don't even really super believe in the project, it's going to pump, 2x or whatever right after. Make your money, get out, keep it moving, and that was the goal. It was a fun beginning there.
I'm just curious, because we talked about you minted Trippin' Ape and Community 3. Did you mint Drippies and Cats?
Yeah, so I was able to get whitelist for Drippies. I didn't get Cats, but I was able to get into the server, and that was when getting into servers were all private, so you had to be quick with it, and they would drop the Discord link, and I was able to get in, and I was able to mint a Cat. And I was able to mint a Drippy. And Drippies, I liked Drippies over Cats. I'm a big 3D, kind of art guy. I think those look sweet, but 3D art has just not done well in this space. And then with Cats, I held on to Drippies till not too long ago. I just sold it, I think 3 a piece. I had 2 of them. So I guess I made a little bit off of it at the end of the day. But the Cats I minted, and I got a 313 hoodie guy. I got rank 100 or something. And it was holy shit, this is awesome. First, actually minting, and it was a legendary or whatever. Looking back at it, I papered it, but they went down to 1 or whatever, and they got back to I think their mint price was 2, and I listed it for 20. Someone bought it for 20, and I was okay, this gives me some breathing room. And then they pumped to close to 100, I think, a month after that, and they pulled back heavily since. And I got back in and sold, thinking they would pump again here, but it seems like they haven't been able to really get the community strong as hell. They still are, even if their floor price is dumping. They everyone still believes in Pueblo. So yeah, then the Community 3 and Trippin' Ape one, those are pretty quick flips. Community 3 I flipped within 20 minutes of minting it. As soon as it sold out, floor price was way up there. I still like the idea behind their company. I think they're VC backed too. So, but so long as it was $100 at the time, I think it was a nice $4 or $5 grand flip right away, which was tight. Let's go. And then Trippin' Apes, they crushed all the way to 80 right off rip. And I was working not at my house. I was actually in the office that day, so I kind of had to watch it. And when I got home, I saw it kind of dumping down, and I waited another day and saw it coming down. And I was like, I'm just going to take my profit here. You know, kind of like Kets. I didn't believe in the drug and like, you know, the name Kets on Crack, and like, you know, the whole Trippin' Apes thing was, can they sustain this hype? Kind of like the Bears were, and I didn't think they were. So I just was like, let me take my money and you know, keep it moving from there.
Yeah, I completely understand. Like for me, it was kind of the opposite, where I wanted, like, I was really into drippies. Like, I'm still in it. I still have 3 drippies.
Nice.
And that's kind of how I was in like the chain gang, because I was talking a lot with Bro Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, you know, like, can I get an invite to the the chain gang? And he's like, yeah, no problem. And that's how kind of, because I was talking a lot with Bro Montana, and that's how kind of I got an invite to the chain gang, because I was there for like a while before they decided to like make an NFT and stuff. But yeah, for me it was like I actually won the Cats and Crack through a raffle.
Nice.
And I minted 2 of them, and I paper handed them like crazy.
So on your mint, or did you let it come back up or did you just dump real early?
Because if you remember, I was crazy about drippies, so I wanted like to have at least like 3, 4, or as many as I could, and then right from the beginning, the Cats on Crack they went down, and then and every influencer was saying like, it's a rug, be careful, you know, like
no one knew who Pablo was. Yeah,
who's Pablo, who is Pablo? And then like, but I was in the Discord for the longest time, you know, and I'm like, it was crazy, it was off the chain. Like, the only time I've seen a Discord that crazy was the OK Bears, where it was like, yeah, it's a very, very different kind of crazy, but like everyone involved and stuff. Like, that's why when the OK Bears, when I saw the art, and then I saw, like, I got it like from a first come first serve kind of.
Yeah.
I was in the Moshi Heads. I don't know if you know the Moshi Heads.
Yeah, I remember them. I forget, the artist did a couple other projects. I remember they pumped early, and then it was like right when like the weed meta was kind of like Best Buds. I think Tombstone was kind of crushing at that time too. But yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, so that's why, like, that's how I got into the Discord. Like, I just got into the Discord, and then I made a video about the OK Bears, and the rest is history, man.
Yeah, I mean, the bear market has not done. You know, Twitter has kind of just been where everyone stayed, but I think still, I am surprised projects do not just absolutely pump content out on every platform. Like, if you're trying to onboard more people, like, just put it on everything. Like, you got to get eyeballs somewhere, and like your main focus could still be Twitter, but like putting, you know, content on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or, you know, Instagram, whatever the case is, like, who knows who's going to see it and maybe pick it up and run with it, you know? So like, I think it's not a bad idea to do that. And you know, a lot of these, especially like when the brand meta, like with the Bears and stuff that were going on, like driving like the brand awareness, like a brand, you know, can only get big when, like, you know, when the brand is actually doing stuff, and like obviously like they're building behind the scenes and stuff, but like that doesn't mean that like content, 10-15 second videos can't be just pumped out daily of like what the brand is about. What are you, like, what's the, you know, the message that you're trying to send? And again, like, I think that's how you get brands to want to work with you, is like, you know, proof of concept of showing like what this brand is, building that brand awareness. And if you're not doing that and just kind of only putting stuff out, you know, every couple months or whatever, you know, that kind of is hard for the community to rally around it. And, you know, sometimes it comes from the community of making that content, just like we saw with the Bears recently, or with this pump of the OK Toasters, even like people flooding the timelines with that. Like, that's just like something that like keeps the momentum going, you know?
Yeah, well, honestly, this is why I wanted to start the podcast, because I remember you saying the message on Twitter, and I'm like, yeah, like, because I like, this podcast has been in the works for a long time. because it's funny you said Mark also, because I saw all of his podcasts, and him, it's an in person though, so it's like very different, and he gets founders to come on, and I mean, it's super interesting. I love his podcast. But like for me, what I'm trying to do, like my goal is to basically highlight people that are working behind the scenes or people from the community, and that's why like I want to start with people that are like always on Twitter, always on Discord, and say like highlight them, and like get like for everyone in the community to like maybe get to know someone one at a time maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you can like do like the more shorter stuff, and then you like, or even really short stuff like shorts and stuff, and you can have the podcast, and you could have like your longer videos that maybe you crank out maybe once a month or something. Like there's those like short to medium to long goals, and trying to make like evergreen content where like you can look back at it, you know, in 6 months and it still resonates with people.
Yeah, exactly. And like for me personally, like I like going on Twitter. I know you're very active on Twitter, and like you're always on Twitter, but for me, like just jumping into spaces and listening. But I feel like because like the OK Bears is spread all over the world, like a lot of people, they don't have time to go on it, or it's never on at the same time. I know they often go in Australia time, and like I know they do podcasts at like, or no, they do spaces at like 4 or 5 in the morning, where I'm like
the town hall meeting I think was at like 4 or 5 in the morning. I was like, damn, that is early. Yeah, I mean, the Twitter spaces are always fun to jump in. I saw it's Arj, but he's kind of pulling up, doing some spaces, I think like once a week or whatever, which is always nice to see. I think that's always, a good thing, just to see more of those pumped out. Again, kind of like just continuing momentum, having the community involved, daily is always a good thing.
Sorry to interrupt the podcast, but if you got this far, please hit the like button and please subscribe. Don't miss out.
I had a few questions. I'm just curious if you're doxxed.
I guess like not on Twitter. I bet you if you went back in my Twitter profile, I'd probably have some pictures. But like I'm a DJ, so like my Twitter handle, like it's like my name's JustRon. Obviously my name's Ron, but my like @ is @DJ Pigpen, which is pretty much my socials across the board. So I mean, like if you look that up on Instagram, I think I'm the first person that comes up, and I'm doxxed completely on all of those. Showing myself off. Yeah, I have no problem doxing myself. I don't really care what I like people think of me, or what I look like, or what I do. I haven't done anything super bad or anything like that. So I have no problem showing my face.
Oh, that's cool, man. So you're part-time in crypto?
I work for a tech company. I guess you'd call it a tech company. Side of things. And then like I said, I have a good group of friends that, are into crypto. Maybe have a little bit more starting capital. But like I kind of got late to the start of it. But we all kind of jumped into NFTs at the same time. But again, like I kind of got rugged early on. So I kind of took some time off from like, probably all in October, I started it. We all started doing it. And like, there was a bunch of rugs going on. So like, I kind of just like fell off, for a couple months. And just pretty much did my own thing or whatever, not doing NFTs. And then Solana got down pretty cheap, and like D-Gods are starting to pump again, and like they all had D-Gods, so I was like, all right, I'll get back in here. Let me throw some money in, and kind of take it slow, and really again try to learn as much as possible in this space, because it moves so fast. And I've never been a stock trader or anything like that, so kind of just trying to learn stuff on the fly. Is you can never time the top or time the bottom. So losses have been had, some nice wins. I'm a degen gambler at heart. I sports gamble quite often. I would say NFTs have kind of definitely stopped that for a while, but football season coming up here, so I'll be back on the horse there. But I got to stop playing like blackjack on Elder Mages Casino and stuff like that. That definitely took some hard L's there. But some wins. I'm probably up overall because I've only put in, deposited, I guess, Sol a couple times, and I've been able to work with that for a while. And this Yoots coming up, it's going to be an interesting one. Hopefully, I get the scholarship. That would be nice.
Yeah, so I recently saw Cody shout you out in the Yoots Shui video.
Yeah.
How was that? Like, were you like surprised? Did he tell you he was going to do that? Or like, what do you think?
Yeah. I was super like shocked and like, much appreciation to Cody. Like, he was one of the first kind of like Discords that I started actually learning a lot about NFTs after, I would say my comeback in February. But yeah, man, like I was just in his Discord, like that was just a super good community and chill to like, just when the bull market, I guess, was kind of going on and like when Cats and, a bunch of these others were starting to kind of pop off. Like it was just always hopping in there. It was fun to talk and like it's good advice. Shout out to Italy and all the other guys that are in there of like just making smart calls and kind of like getting an idea of like how shit's ran around here. And it was just fun and still is. It's tougher now, I guess, in the bear market because I would say definitely some people have kind of stopped. Like it seems like the trading volume has been lower. There's not as much hype around it or anything like that. So but it's still fun as hell. I cannot complain. It's always a good day popping in there every day and talking with everyone.
I'm just curious how you started on the Chain Gang. Like, how did you become a mod or? So
yeah, like. When I was watching like Cody, Jersey, Grish, and all those guys, their YouTube videos. I think Cody was streaming live and popped the Discord invite, and I was able to be quick on the trigger and I was able to get in, and I just talked in there like a bunch and just kind of made friends with everyone. Just gave my opinions on stuff and was helpful when I kind of had learned the ropes enough. And and shout out to Bro Montana. He was the one who kind of suggested me to go for a mod. Before that, I was I guess you'd call it the role was detective. I was on Twitter so much, I was just finding so many new projects that were popping up that were like first whatever to react, get OG roll or whitelist or whatever, and I was just like pumping like 10 or 15 out because projects were coming out just every day. So just trying to contribute as much as possible, and then eventually got asked to be a mod, and kind of just went from there.
Yeah. I'm just curious, do you have anyone you talk to constantly? Like, are you like on a really close to anyone in the space that gives you like alpha and stuff like that?
Like I say, like I have my close buddy of friends, Mark being one of those that, we talk daily. And I would say, the Chain Gang, like, just being in there, like Omarino in there, like he's in there constantly and he's doing his stuff with, Mystery Mafia, which has been awesome to see.
Yeah, no, I understand. Cause like I'm in so many Discords and I'm trying to like eliminate them one at a time. I'm even contemplating like just selling a bunch of my NFTs so that I only have like the OK Bears and maybe one or two more.
I mean, I've been liquidating often here just because I think, like I said, the Yoots mint coming up, I think that's going to take a decent hit for a lot of projects.
Because I feel like we're in the same boat, like we're pretty much like started the same. Personally, like I don't have a lot of money or a lot of soul in it because all my money is going towards buying my house. Yeah. This is my play money, basically. I
would say I'm in the same boat. I think I would like to buy a house soon too. My girlfriend has made me a budget a couple of years ago and it's been absolutely amazing.
I bought into a pencil at 5. I feel like maybe a blocksmith type of play.
They've been on my watch list, I think, for the last month.
They have like incentives, like they're telling the holders anywhere between 3 and 5. There are 3 of them that will give you like 3 soul, 1 soul, and 2 soul. People have just been buying them up and stuff.
That's just like an incentive just to like just
build off the royalties. I don't know if I like that. Like Shillin Villain always says that, like, oh, this is just a royalty pump and dump. And that there's definitely, like, he said that about this Bears thing of all the FUD that happened and then they pumped up again, which, I don't know if that's the case at all. But, I mean, I think he's right in a lot of those stuff where it's like, that just seems like a royalty farm almost, like where it just continually gets people to buy. It sucks with these royalties, especially that, if they're at 8, 9, 10%, like if you buy at 5, you need it to get to 6. And stuff isn't pumping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 soul, up real fast. Some of them are like some of these gambling metas are, but
the thing is, like, I agree and disagree with what you're saying, because it is a royalty type of thing, but I actually think that because it's above mint price, people are more positive about the project and stuff, and it is a royalty farming kind of thing, but I mean, I feel a lot better holding something that is above mint and stuff, and I think everyone is like that too. Usually what happens though in those type of things, where if you're like, hey, you give incentives to buy up the 21 on the floor, people will buy them and then it'll just go right back. But with the Peng Soul, which was pretty cool, is people they bought the floor and then it didn't go back right there, so it just stayed at that point. So that's pretty cool.
If you look at the Bears, they went to 200 down, and then when they went to 50, that's still like a 1.5 out of 50. That's a heavy X, still way above mint. And people that bought the top though, they're not doing well, and panicking and selling. So looking at it from those people, I can see where it's a little tough. I think a lot of these projects pull way back when Yoots come out, and then it's going to reset a lot of the table of the people that did not or weren't able to get a Yoot or got priced out. And we'll see where some of these, you might be finding some good entries at some of these other ones, just like Bears. When they started run up, everyone was liquidating. Even D-Gods had a pullback from 400 all the way to under 200 at one point. They obviously bounced back really well. That team is pretty crazy over there. So holders are, I would say, probably the strongest diamond hands in the ecosystem. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this Yoots drop, and the scholarships. You're only getting one. You're not going to have influencers have 30, 40, 50, 10, whatever whitelist spots, unless they finesse the system somehow, or bought into the dust pool and were able to get a bunch that way. And they're not going to be able to accumulate a bunch right off the get unless they're paying the bag. And I think that's what happened with Trippin' Apes. They started off at 50 and went to 80. So none of the influencers that didn't have a bunch of whitelists were able to just unload and get a bunch and accumulate a bunch, because they were already at 50. So they weren't able to, get the pump. And I think we'll kind of see the same thing with Yoots here, where I see the lowest coming out at 25, and I can see it also coming out at 50 or 60, and I can see it running all the way to 100 in the first day. And then it's do people FOMO in from there, or do we see kind of another pullback until they release something with whatever the utility is, and then we see kind of where it evens out? Or do they just frickin' moon like the Bears and go, past 200 or something? It'll be very interesting to kind of see what happens with the Yoots mint.
The biggest thing, honestly, is the bear market right now. That's the biggest downfall of the Yoots, because when the Bears, when they minted, the Soul was at 100, and it went up crazy because there was so many eyes on the market. I feel everyone knows Yoots, everyone wants Yoots, but a lot of people are either on vacation or whatever, or just not interested in crypto. But I feel we lost a lot of people, and I feel a lot of people lost 80% of their holdings and are just down and look, I'm gonna go outside, I'm gonna go touch grass, I'm gonna chill, and I'm not coming back. And they have the Yoots mint at the corner of their eye kind of type of thing, and I feel I haven't minted anything in a while, and I'm just looking, and I'm not seeing these up spikes, or I'm not seeing anything interesting. So yeah, definitely the Yoots is going to be hype, and I feel like, yeah, everything you said, I think it's going to start at 50 maybe, where a lot of the people that are, I don't know, man, it's crazy because a lot of diamond handers, you know, like everyone from the D gods that will mint will not list them, or they will list them at 100 right from the beginning, and it's only like the 3,500 that are coming in, maybe a few of them. That's why I'm thinking of maybe buying like a sniper, you know, like for that mint.
Right. Like, I mean, everyone's going to have that, I think. So, I mean, if whoever does paper, I think it's going to be scooped up fast. I think you're going to have to try to go a couple soul or more above floor to just get it. My thing is, when bears were flying up, we were kind of more in a bull market, and soul was 100. And like everyone that kind of bought in when we had that little bit of a rise, people bought in, sold at 100 and whatever, and they were making their money. And now we're at 40, you know, and I think everyone is just looking at this mint and this mint only. And I think the people that have a bag already might be able to actually still accumulate, because they're like, this is going to go crazy no matter what. And the people that say have, you know, maybe they're just sitting on the sidelines of USDC, and they're like, okay, here's my time. I'm going to just buy, you know, like 10,000 worth of Solana so I can have just, you know, some ready just to deploy and just buy a bunch. And then there's going to be a pullback at some point, I think. I mean, everything does. And I wonder if it'll be at, you know, will that be at 150 to 100 and they hover at 100, or will we see a Trippin' Apes thing? I don't think that'll happen, because the team is not like Trippin' Apes team. They've been proven clearly with D-Gods, and you know, they, you know, seem to always come up with something new to give their holders. So it'll be a fun time. Again, maybe that was kind of the top signal of the bull market, where now we're in the bear market, and maybe some people are willing to take more profit quickly, or, you know, maybe D-God holders that, you know, have only had D-Gods and they haven't been able to put any money in because they've just been diamond handing the shit out of them, and they're finally like, okay, here I can finally make some money, and they're willing to just, you know, get rid of it right away.
I hope you liked the first episode of The Bear Hug. Please give me your feedback down below in the comments. I want to know where I can improve so that the next episode will be even better. Special thanks to JustRon, who came on this and gave me his time.